Hello guys, and welcome to another ProfileTree video. So in today's video we're going to be taking a look at front-end web development. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. So just before we get started, what exactly is front-end web development? So this process refers to the creation of visual and interactive elements of a website that the users see and interact with. So our demonstration here is our ProfileTree website. So you can see right ahead of us, we've got our front-end web development page. So this is our landing page. So this is the very first thing that you'll see. So of course, the background of this site required HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and it also required UI, UX for this website to happen. So we've got stuffs like the actual fonts, the colors, we've got our video, of course that all required some CSS, and then HTML would mainly be our links as well. So you could see that we've got our links. Now, for those who don't know what HTML is, that's referring to the hypertext markup language, and CSS, which is Cascading Style Sheets. And of course our last one, which is JavaScript. But we'll talk more into that later on in the video when we're looking at the back end of the actual website. So as I was saying, this is the front end web development. And based off what I said, there's multiple ways of creating this sort of site, which we've got the luxury to now, which is a website builder, like a CMS one. And these would be the Wix, it could be GoDaddy, it could be Squarespace, Shopify, just depending on what your website is all about. Or of course, you can go ahead and take the more complex route, which is doing the actual coding yourself. So as I said and mentioned earlier on, which is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and the use of your application like Visual Code, WordPress, things like Elementor as well. So you can go ahead and use that to create a website like this. So here in front of us is an application called Visual Code. It's also referred to as VS Code. Now, this is a popular source code editor which was developed by Microsoft themselves. Now, it was or is widely used by developers for various programming languages and web development. Now, the key aspects and features of Visual Code include lightweight and cross-platform. Now, it runs on multiple platforms like Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and offers consistent development experiences across different operating systems. So that's what's great about it as well. Now, VS Code, I would say, is highly extensible. So it allows developers to customize and enhance their coding environment. So you've got that rich ecosystem of extensions that provide additional features, language support, debugging capabilities, and integrations with various tools and frameworks. And just to demonstrate that, if you click on the actual search here, so we've got the extensions here, you can see that from there. So if you do Control-Shift-X, you're able to have a look at a couple of extensions that may prove to be helpful when coding. So you've got a PHP debugger tool, GitLens, we've got Toto Highlight, PHP, we've got Firebase configuration, Alexa skills kit, which is great for anyone who's, of course, building any Alexa skills. Visual Code is a great all-rounder source code editor tool. Now, what's great about Visual Code as well is that it's an intuitive user experience. Now, Visual Code has a clean and intuitive user interface that focuses on maximizing productivity. So you can see here that it provides a sidebar for easy navigation. So we've got an area there, of course, to search our items, our extensions as well. Alexa's toolkit, if you guys have that as well, you can run and debug. And you've also got a powerful search and replace feature on this. Integrated terminal, which we have here for testing code. Should be located there, as you can see. So there's our terminal. Got your comments, debug console, any problems that has been underlying on this code here. You've got your output as well, if as long as you run a command. So it's pretty clean. It has everything here. It's a flexible layout that can also be customized according to the individual's preferences. Now, what's great about this is if you guys have ever heard of GitHub, that's where most developers will upload their code to. It's actually got a Git integration, so that allows developers to easily work on version control systems as well. So it provides features such as staging. You've got committing, branching, viewing diffs, so making it just convenient to manage code changes directly within the editor. So say that if you're using GitHub, it's a great way to upload your code. That's practically a backup as well. So you're uploading your code, you're making sure that everything's there, just in case anything happens to this current code that we have now. So if we say damage, lose, anything, basically, we can refer back to the GitHub, which was our Git integration, and we can go ahead and back up our files or get our backup file. Now, another thing about VS Code is that there's a debugging tool. Now, the integrated debugging tool is used for various programming languages. So what we're currently using here is JavaScript, or JS Node, sorry. So I would say that it allows developers to set breakpoints, inspect variables, step through code execution, and analyze runtime behavior, making it easier to identify and fix issues in their code or our code. Another thing it has is task automation. So Visual Code also supports task automation build systems, and it also provides a task runner that allows developers to define custom tasks such as compiling code, running tests, executing build scripts, and that can all be triggered with a simple keyboard shortcut. Now, another good thing about VS Code is that there is a collaboration and live share. So VS Code actually offers a live share, a feature that enables real-time collaboration with other developers. So it allows multiple developers to edit and debug code together, facilitating remote pair programming or code review. So it's great if, say, you're working from home and you want to do a little bit of a collaboration for the group project. So that's another thing that you can
Hello
have,
guys,
which
and
is
welcome
the
to
live
another
share.
ProfileTree
That's
video.
pretty good.
So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at
those are just a couple of the
front-end web
highlights
development.
and features and
So
capabilities
without
of
further
Visual
ado,
Studio
we're going
Code.
to go ahead and get started.
Now, of course, it's not just VS Code. Some people use the other program as well, which I'll show you now. Now, this is also made by Microsoft themselves, which is Visual Studio. So it's not called Visual Code or Visual Studio Code. It's just a normal one. I would highly recommend to use this, especially if you are just starting off. I've used this multiple times as well myself. There's ways for you to actually check out the style sheet and the actual HTML. So what I was doing there was the ASPX, so also similar to what HTML would be. So it should open up and of course show an output here, but fortunately it is a little bit glitchy in that case. But this is an all-rounder, pretty good all-rounder. So if I wanted to create a new project anyway, which I'll go ahead and do, so I'll just name this test. So you would go for the ASP.NET web application, so that's the .NET framework, and we're gonna just go for the WebDriver test for Edge, or we'll just go for the MS test, and then of course we'll just name that test, create it. Overall, you're able to pretty much create the same aspect as what Visual Studio has to offer. So just the way it goes, this is our CS, so we can actually create, we can add a new item, and it could be like CSS, we could do HTML, so there's a HTML page, you've got CSS as well, which is the class, so you've got your text file. So yeah, overall would recommend to use Visual Studio if you are starting off with coding a front-end web development site. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the CMS-based website builders. So for those who are actually wondering what CMS stands for, it means Content Management System. And this is a software platform that's used to create, manage, and publish digital content. So that's the like of what we have now, which is Wix. And of course, there are other ones there like Joomla. You've got Drupal, Magento, Shopify, Squarespace, Ghost, even GoDaddy as well. So there are plenty of different website builders that you can use. It's not just Wix themselves. We've actually done a couple of comparison videos on that if you guys would want to check that out on our YouTube channel. But anyway, those are just some of the few examples of the CMS platforms that are available. And each platform, of course, has its own strengths, features, and target audience. So it's always important to just double check and evaluate your specific needs and requirements when choosing a CMS for your website or project. Anyway, how exactly does this refer to a front-end web development? So if we go ahead and just head into a Wix website, so you can see here, it's a CMS built in. So this is what we've got. We've got e-commerce there. We've got bookings, pricing plans, events. So it's all integrated in. So unlike the actual visual code where we'll have to add plugins in or code parts in, but with the use of WordPress, that's pretty much different to Wix since everything's all in here. Compare that with WordPress, everything you have to go ahead and do as a plugin. So if I wanted to have a e-commerce based website using Visual Code and WordPress, I would have to have WooCommerce downloaded as a plugin, whilst Wix already has an e-commerce version, so all I need to do is actually go ahead and click on it. So I'll go ahead and continue. So of course I can name that project if I want. Now this is their headless one, Wix headless. There is one here called Wix website. We'll just go ahead and click into Wix website and I'll show you guys a couple of different examples on what the website's meant to look. So it'll ask you what kind of website are you building. We'll just say landing page. We should have one there. So there's a landing page. So what's the name of your business? We'll just say ProfileTree for now. Go ahead and click next. So it'll give you a couple of options there. You've got chat, online store, bookings, events, blog, portfolio, pricing plans, all the way to bandas in town. Anyway, what we'll do is I'm happy enough with what I've got, so I'll just go ahead and click skip because overall we're just going to go ahead and build a landing page anyway. Now there is a more complex version to Wix. Now you've got editor there, editor X, you've got the website generator, which is artificial design intelligence is what it used to be or formerly known as. Anyway, we'll just want to go ahead and create a Wix website using the Wix editor. And so far you can see the multiple different options for a landing page or a front end web development. So no coding is required when you're using a CMS based website builder. Now it's not just with Wix. You've also got another CMS one here called Squarespace that offers pretty much the same services as Wix would do. However, as I've mentioned before, they do have their strengths and weaknesses, so it's best to just check out which one would suit you best. But there's an example of what this one looks like. You can see that you've got a couple of different options on templates. I would recommend the CMS to anyone who has no coding experience at all. So if you struggle with coding or just have no technical advantage towards this sort of topic, which is coding of course, then I would go ahead and recommend to choose any website builder to work on, like Squarespace, Wix, and Shopify. You'll get the same turnout anyway for the front end web development. Now, if you go ahead and actually click on one, so what I'll do is I'll bring up a screen here with a domain already installed. So you can see here with the likes of the actual sites, these all have a premium category. Now, if I go ahead and click on one of the sites here called House of Retro, so this is just one of our demo sites. We do have options to actually add domain, so you don't really have to worry about any databases, domain, and anything like that on any CMS website builders. You can see that you can just connect a custom domain in. So if I just wanted to go House of Retro, I can go ahead and search that up, and I should be able to find something similar of similar towards that sort of domain. So we can see here that we get a list of different domains like houseofretro.net, houseofretro.online, houseofretro.org, and so on. So this is something that you might be willing to go through, especially if you are going to run an e-commerce store. You have everything here in terms of domain. You've also got marketing and SEO. You've got billings and payments. Of course, that would be your monthly plan on how much you want to pay for the service. You've got your store products, where you would add your inventory in. So that would be a list of products, inventory, categories, back in stock requests, e-commerce apps. You've got your orders there, and then using the actual site. So to get into the site, if you just click on the home and then design site, it's either design site or edit. You'll see it on the top right anyway. So what's great about the CMS website builders is these are all drag and drop. So you don't have to tamper about with any of the coding aspect of what Visual Code is and WordPress is, and of course other ones like Elementor and plugins and stuff. It's all cut down to basic knowledge. So if I wanted to move a little bit of text to the right, I can go ahead and do so. If I wanted to revert what I did, there's an undo and redo button on the top there. So I'll go ahead and undo that. So this should undo itself. Let's see. So there you go. You can see that it's undoing itself, but for some reason it just doesn't want to go back to the original spot. You've got tools like toolbar, layers, things like that. Now, not all of the website builders are the same. Like Squarespace, it would be a little bit different. So if we were to open this one up, I'll go ahead and demonstrate this one. So this is an example of the Squarespace one. If I go ahead and edit the site, you can see that it goes by the terms block. So you'll see it here, it's add block, so that's pretty much add element where I can add text. If I compare that with this, there's add elements, and I would be able to add a different sort of text. So there's a list of different sort of text that you can add in there. Compare that with Squarespace, it's add block and just pretty much click on text. You'll get a couple of options there where you can edit it. You can change the boldness, you can change the actual type it is, like heading, all the way to paragraph, monospace, and of course the italics. You can add italics to it if you want. So various different options there, and then in comparison with Wix as well. So yeah, pretty much all the CMS website builders will all be the same. So there you go, guys. That's pretty much all there is to discuss about the front end web development. Now, as I mentioned, there are other platforms to use. It's not just Visual Code, Visual Studio, and some of the CMS platforms that we looked at. Now, in terms of CMS, there are things where you can work things together. So as I mentioned, you've got Visual Code and WordPress. So WordPress is a CMS platform, but you can actually integrate Visual Code in the back end of it. And there you can pretty much add your plugins in and stuff like that. Now, it's widely used. It pretty much powers about 40% of the websites on the internet by far. And you've got an ecosystem of themes and plugins that you can use for, which makes it a very highly customizable and flexible CMS website builder. But yes, as I said, that pretty much reaches the end of the video. Hopefully you guys found it informative or helpful. If you did, please do leave a comment in the comment section below. But other than that, I'll see you guys for the next video. Thank you very much for watching.